Well, it is a common situation, and I think it's a absolutely critical political idea that if people don't understand what's happening in a positive way, they either assume that nothing's happening, which is depressing, or that negative things are happening, which is even worse. So, and it's a terrible challenge because we have so much information, so much broadcast about crisis, conflict, violence. You know, it's a constantly negative portrayal of our behavior, when in fact the dominant reality of our behavior is collaboration. The dominant story of the 20th and the 21st century is freedom, collaboration, and success. That's, I mean, it's a really radically successful period. But people still, the thing that they see the most, I went home and watched the news last night, and they were talking about executing a mass murderer and another mass murderer on a military base in the United States. Now, that's what dominates that's what dominated my imagination by watching the news. There was nothing on the news about the extraordinary energy that we found here in Sudbury. That 500 people in a small town like this came out to talk about the future of the city and how we could apply design to think of this place as a park. To think of it as a park that we live in. That's way more important than the fact that somebody got killed. It's a sad thing, and it is compelling, but it's way over there. I can't affect it, so I'm disempowered, and it has really no relevance to me, but it's in my imagination. And it's not that we shouldn't understand what's going on in the negative, but we've allowed the negative to dominate our reality when the reality of our reality is positive. And so one of the important things that needs to be done as part of the process of the Center for Massive Change here in Sudbury is that we need to show people the heroes of our own community. We need to understand that these people are extraordinary people who are making personal commitment to change and development for their community, for their children, for their children's children. So, and those people are way more interesting, ultimately. Let's say they may not be more interesting to us, they're more relevant to us. We may not realize it. And part of what we need to do is actually make them interesting. Right? We have to make the heroic accomplishments that are being done here interesting to ourselves and one another, so that people really see, wow, these people, the work that Imagine Sudbury is doing, that's going to shape the future of this place. The work that the university is doing, that the city is doing, these things are going to shape the future. And I think for me, one of the most important effects that that we've been involved in, the most important experiences that we've had, are around people discovering their own power to shape the world. People discovering their own capacity that the city doesn't happen to them. Their life doesn't happen to them. And that transformation, it's a very tough one to, it's a difficult one for people to get in a world that, is very much sort of reinforcing the idea that you're a consumer, you're powerless, you will be manipulated, and you will live within the category that we've imagined for you. When in fact, we're living in an era where you can reinvent that category. You can reinvent consumption. You can be a producer, not only a consumer. And collectively, you have the power to shape the world. So that transformation, I think, is such a, it's such an exciting time to be living in a world where those tools are becoming available, where people can, get into their hands, especially kids, because, kids have a natural, they hit a natural point in their development where they reject their parents, they reject the existing structure, they reject the status quo, and they want to make something. And they discover their own voice, and they discover their own power. And now they have tools that amplify their power on such a scale that they can really become world changers. And they can do it from anywhere in the world. Unlike, even a few decades ago, there is nothing preventing a kid from Sudbury changing the world from Sudbury. You no longer have to leave to do that.